Happy to be back. Happy to be doing it. For the Christmas edition. I wish I had done something Christmassy. Maybe I'll put on a Santa hat for this one. But my wish for Christmas, what I really want, it's just good games for the fans. And we're getting one. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of Solaris, we have DRG, the one true dong of Ragu. His opponent in the upper right-hand corner. In the blue, it is Classic, the ultimate chin toss. A little classic DRG action. I would generally say Classic's going to be a little bit favored in this match. But DRG's got that magic. DRG does kind of have the magic where I believe that he could beat anybody. I don't know if it's true, but I believe it. That's his magic. I'll always believe in DRG. I'll tell you, there was a point after his peak in like 2012, 2013, maybe a year or two later. I want to say it was 2014-ish, but I can't really be sure. There was a match he played against Innovation, and this was DRG not quite at his peak, right? He was still quite good, but he wasn't that like best Zerg in the world, could take on anybody kind of person at that point. Innovation was like, he was the god of Terran. And he was just so solid. His standard macro, like marine mine play, felt unbeatable. And he and DRG went at it for the entire match. And it was just so cool to see DRG play at that level against Innovation. Since then, I've always believed. I've never doubted DRG's ability. I'll be honest, he lost that match against Innovation, but it was still so good, and he was the only Zerg that I saw that could take on Innovation with, like, Lingbane Muta against Marine Mine and just play it out over and over and over again. Oh, so good. I'm hoping we get something similar here. But of course, with the little Protoss spin from Classic, who has performed quite well recently. We are just a week out of DreamHack Atlanta, where Classic was the highest placing Protoss. And in general, I would say he's one of the strongest Protoss out there. He was the only one to make it to the round of 8. Like the Adept went down, got a couple of drones. This has become the standard, the norm for the Protoss opener. Let's just send these Adepts out, try to get some damage done. Ooh, this one, though, is going to get caught. Classic is going to lose 2 Adepts for 2 drones. I don't even think he got a Ling. Yeah, and that's a great cleanup from DRG, honestly. As Classic, you either want to have those 2 Adepts hitting, getting some damage done, maybe 4 or 5 drones, and also opening up a little spot for the Oracle to get in, if he can hit it with it all at the same time. Or you want those Adepts to get out of there, just help defend the 3rd, and then the 2nd Oracle can be free to move out and join up with the 1st one. But now, Classic has gotten 3 kills. 2nd Oracle needs to stay at home, because otherwise these Lings will just come in here and kill this, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and kill it anyways. And that's just 100 free minerals for DRG. And again, all that stems back to those first 2 Adepts going down. And Classic now losing significantly more than his opponent, even after killing that Overlord. This is quite painful for Classic. They've supply blocked each other. It's very rare, I think, to see both players supply blocked, unless it's like a base trade, but... yeah, this is a great opening for DRG. All that early game harass that Classic wanted to do is now gone. He's going to enter into a mid game, not in quite as good a position as he would have wanted to, but he does have a bunch of gates going down. Forge and Twilight Council finishing up. He's going to go ahead and dive in and get some drone damage now. Loses an Oracle, which is a bit unfortunate. Although 6 drones is quite nice. But at the same time, I mean, these Lings looks like they got a couple of probes. So even some of that damage is mitigated here by DRG, who kills a second Oracle. Oh, that's absolutely brutal. This is not a good opening for Classic. I mean, he's killed 10 drones, which is nice, but I feel like for 2 Adepts, 2 Oracles, also 2 of your own probes, it's just not ideal. We'll see what it gets into, though. We've already got Charge on the way and +1. Templar Archives and the Robo coming up now for Classic, as he's teching up and trying to get into, I imagine, some sort of Death Bally type Protoss ground army. It's funny, for a while, PvZ, it felt like it was impossible to go for ground units. I don't really know what it is that makes it feel better now. Maybe it's just that like the highest level Protoss players have gotten better. Things like lurkers don't seem to be quite as scary to a Protoss ground army as they used to be. This is a nice catch, actually. Hold on here. Okay, the sentry's gonna find themselves in the little corner. The Oracle will come over to try to help. Lings, though. Look at DRG with his Lings, man. This is what he does. Forces a cancel on the Nexus. Kills a couple of Zealots. Draws out a force field as well, so some energy gone there for Classic, who's trying to save up some of that energy for a potential push. He's going to try to kill this shield battery. Nothing really to save it, except for these High Templar, which are auto-attacking into the Lings. I'll tell you, that does not do a lot of damage. Storm is on the way. Classic is getting towards that big old Protoss ground army. I do love to see Storm coming up. I think that can be quite good against Zerg in general. The Hallucinated Phoenix is going to spot the Spire right as it finishes. So 10 Mutas are on the way immediately. Classic starts chronoing out Phoenixes from this Stargate. And he's going to need to make a lot of Archons. Oh, the Roaches, though, dive in here. They kill the Morphing Archon before it can finish and get healed by the shield battery. And now, Classic doesn't really have anything that shoots up. What does he have? 1 Stalker and Storm. That's it. Other than the Phoenixes that are coming out one at a time, he's got to hope that he can get enough cannons and shield batteries up for static defense. But with those 10 Mutas being started right away and more of them behind that, DRG is going to have a very powerful flock of Mutas. I feel like he needs to be out there, though, doing damage right now. Classic, the longer this takes for these Mutas to get out there and do damage, the better it is for Classic. DRG starts up 5 Corruptors also because he is anticipating the Phoenix play. It's actually fantastic. DRG's just not moving out. Okay, I think he's trying to fool Classic. I don't necessarily think it's worked, but I think he's trying to fool him and make him think, oh, he didn't actually build the Mutas. Because right now, I mean, DRG would be hitting with these, right? But maybe he just decided to just leave the Spire. He has 17 Mutas and 5 Corruptors, but I feel like he's trying to make Classic think it's not the case. However, Classic has not fallen for this, and he is continuing to build Phoenixes. Feels like he knows DRG. He's getting that Phoenix upgrade as well, Anti-Impulse Crystals, or at least he will once the Fleet Beacon is done. And now the Corruptors a little far behind, and the Phoenixes are getting on top of these Mutas. The Corruptors are crucial to this, as they're the only thing that can keep up with the range of these Phoenixes. Stalkers coming in, trying to help out. There are a good few. Ooh, Storms are a possibility. There's some juicy Storms. Does kill a probe with that Storm, but worth it to push the Mutas away, I think. 10 probes go down. That's pretty expensive for DRG. But he's also forced Classic now into so much Phoenix production. But he is continuing to build Mutas, so I guess maybe the Phoenixes are worthwhile supply. DRG's also setting up to potentially hit over here. I wouldn't hate to see some Banelings trying to roll in. Even with 3 cannons here, I feel like Banelings could potentially get on top of some of these probes. DRG is getting Bane speed. His +1 missile attack is about to finish for +1 flyer attacks, excuse me, is about to finish for those air units. He was going to try to get on top of these Phoenixes. Anti-Impulse Crystal is not quite done. That's the Phoenix range. That will help them fight much, much better against the Corruptors, but also just makes them even stronger against the Mutas than they already were. DRG does not want to give him that time, though. He's going to dive in on top of this and start taking stuff down. Some of the Banelings get caught in the back, but I don't know if it's really going to matter. So many probes going down once again. Cannons getting killed or depowered. Phoenix is trying to pick off as many units as they can. They're doing a great job. The control here from Classic is absolutely on point. And again, even the Corruptors have a tough time dealing with this now. DRG has a bunch of spines here, but not really any spore crawlers, which would be scary for the Phoenixes. Phoenix count is up to, let's just 7. So I guess a few of them have died. 7 of them have died. But still, Phoenix, Classic doing a great job with the Phoenix control. He has killed quite a lot of mutas, 23 of them. And even though there are still quite a bit out, I feel like DRG is in a very good spot right now. He has been holding. There hasn't been a ton of damage done to him. DRG's trying to go in over here potentially. Hit in multiple locations. And as these Corruptors die, look at how well these Phoenixes deal with the Corruptors. They get just in range of them. Ready to pull back at a moment's notice if those Corruptors turn and fight. But that's a lot of units, ground and air, that are not here to deal with this Ling run by. And that's going to be 21 dead probes. It looks like the cannons are going to hold for long enough. The positioning here of the 2 pylons with that cannon in between is really nice for Classic. Actually makes sure this base holds. Without that positioning, those Lings would surely have killed all of this by now. Classic brings the units over here to defend. I feel like it's almost time for Classic to move out. Like, it feels like he's got to start moving out soon. He's going to find some Banelings here. Big problem for DRG is his army doesn't fight super well against an actual good army from the Protoss. Muta Ling, even with some Banes in here, is going to have a tough time dealing with Immortals and Archons. Classic trying to probe this base up, but he is nearly maxed. 60 workers, so it's going to be a very large army. Upgrade slightly better for DRG across the board, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make that much of a difference. This is the strat for DRG, though, is to counterattack. Mutas and Corruptors over here to draw the Phoenixes, which Classic is controlling against very nicely, but then the Lings and Banes coming in here and just trying to pop all the probes they can. It seems like DRG is really focused on this micro, though, so the Archon's going to go ahead and clean that up. And at the same time, a bunch of charge lots went into this base, so while 18 probes died, 13 drones went down as well. Both players taking big economic hits. But in this situation, that's actually much worse for DRG, who needs to just be building banks constantly to replenish this very, very fragile army that's just going to die over and over and over again. Now, I don't know if he's got enough to actually win a fight here. Phoenix is doing a great job picking off these mutas. There's so many mutas and Corruptors, though. I am a little worried if Classic loses these Archons, the mutas will just start to snowball against the ground units, and even with the Phoenixes picking them off, they would be able to kill pretty much everything on the ground before the Phoenixes kill them. And at the same time, DRG counterattacking again before any static defense can get back up over here. 6 more probes go down, but more importantly, the 4th base is now dead. And Classic's mining is pretty low everywhere else. And DRG's teching up. He's getting into Vipers. I wouldn't honestly hate to see some Infestors out. Maybe try to get a cheeky fungal on these Phoenixes. This base might go down, but this feels so, so good for DRG. If he can just buy a little bit of time, trim off some more of these units. Classic's army is so powerful. It's so big. Oh, the Phoenix or the Viper comes out and immediately gets targeted down by some Phoenixes. It stays alive though to suck up some energy. Can it suck up enough energy for a parasitic bomb? DRG has lost another base, and he is now only on 4. He needs to get on top of this soon or completely go for a counterattack. All right. Lings, Mutas, and Corruptors here. He's going to target down the 3rd. Lings will keep an eye on where the Phoenixes are. Phoenixes will not come in to help. Okay, so now the question is, does Classic just say screw it and go for the full counterattack, the full base trade? Or does he pull back and try to defend? I think if he pulls back and defends, that's going to be very bad for Classic. His Queens take out an Immortal, but it looks like the Queens are not going to be too long for this world. And we are in full base trade territory here. Oh, actually, hold on. I say that there was just a recall, though. Classic brings home a lot of these units. The Corruptors, again, running away from the Phoenixes, getting targeted down. The Mutas will never actually be able to kill any Phoenixes with the Any and Pulse Crystals. They just won't be able to do it. I say, as he very successfully kills one, Classic just pulling away. Oh, no! And then the Archon Storm Sandwich. And that's going to be enough for the GG. Classic takes game 1. Oh, DRG, I think, was in such a good spot there. If he would have been able to get out some of those spellcasters, get some energy on that Viper, land a couple of, like, parasitic bombs. Again, I wouldn't even hated, like, a Infestor to try to get some fungals, but that's so hard to do while you're microing everything else and just trying to constantly counterattack, defend the Zealot run-bys. And by the time DRG got into that Viper, got into that Hive, Classic just had too big of an army. DRG had the impossible task of defeating an army that was better than his. Now we're going to hop in to game number 2. We're spawning in the lower... Oh, sorry. This is the upper left-hand corner of Oceanborn. It is DRG. Oh, so sorry. Meant to do that. Sometimes I hit the wrong button. There we go. Now his opponent in the lower right. It is Classic. Classic playing for the Twisted Minds. Is DRG... Like, Team NV doesn't really exist anymore, right? Okay, so he last played for Abydos. But what does he play for now? Does he have a team? Is he currently teamless? Fun fact, DRG and I are the same age. We were born in the same year. Which is kind of crazy to think about, because DRG's like, he's like one of the oldest pro gamers we have. And he and I were born in the same year. What does that make me? Also rude how he can be this good at my age. It means I'm not allowed to use age as the reason for why I'm bad. Him and Ryung? Is Ryung also in the 32 club? Oh, that's incredible. Ryung is in April. He's even older than DRG. Oh my god. I look young for my age. Thank you, Archon 78787. I appreciate that. I don't feel young for my age, though. I definitely feel 32. Vlad in the chat, and Cliggity. Look at these lovelies. Also, Vlad, the way you said thank you, you wrote TY, made me wish we could get TY into a KSL. I love TY. I miss TY. I have another Stargate opener here from Classic. Gonna open with a Phoenix, though. Okay, all right, a little Phoenix action. Phoenix first, I feel like, is pretty rare for a Stargate opener. Makes me wonder if Classic's got something cheeky up his sleeves that he wants to kill this Overlord quickly. T.O. hasn't been performing well in World Team League. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I have not really watched any World Team League at all, but I've been thinking about it. I want to try to see if I can cover some of the matches. I'd love to get involved with World Team League. I think it's such a cool tournament. I love the idea of team leagues. It's just such a shame that it's on at my sleep time. And I don't generally watch like StarCraft VODs. I just don't personally usually watch them. I know a lot of people do. I kind of wish I did. Maybe one day. Classic again, going for the same thing he went for last game. A couple of Adepts trying to get in, the Oracle trying to get in. Getting slightly better damage this game. But still, I mean, I want to say it's a good hold from DRG. 4 drones and a few lings. Not that big of a deal. Cheeky +1 melee here out of DRG, so he might be going for some lings. I know that's going to be crazy coming out of Dongregu. But he might go for some Zerglings. Classic with a more conservative amount of gateways to follow up the Stargate and the Twilight Forge here in this game. I'm guessing it's going to be something more like Blink. Hey, look at that. Called it. Aren't I good? Yeah, just doesn't need as many gateways straight off the bat here. They're going to take his time getting into those extra gates. Get into some Blink Stalker, something he can maybe have a little more utility with. A little more micro potential than the charge lots. And DRG's, despite going for the +1 melee, has decided to go into Roaches as well. Ooh, the Oracle sneak in. Nice pickup on the Queen there. Going to get 4 more drones, and this time Classic doesn't lose any of the Oracles. So this is definitely an improvement over last game, where 2 of those Oracles died pretty quickly. Kind of an uncharacteristic mistake last game from Classic. Obviously, it didn't end up impacting the results of the game, but I do think that game played out a lot differently than what Classic had expected it to. And I think a lot of that is just DRG was able to get into his mutas without much happening to him. Just kind of chilling. And that's exactly what Classic doesn't want to let happen. And why he's going to be putting on some big pressure this game. So I talked about him having some less gateways than last game, but he was just delaying some of those gates. And he is going to have quite a few gates. I think this is 8 gateways of Blink Stalkers. He's just going to be Blink and Stalkers all over the place. But you know what? Hydras are actually quite good against Stalkers. And I didn't even see DRG put the Hydra Den down. He has so many tech buildings, actually. He's got the Lurker Den already on the way. The Infestation Pit done. But he needs to just get units out right now. I don't think he realizes that Classic has 8 gates of Blink Stalkers coming at him. Nothing else in the production tab. Classic is... he's just going. And he wants to try to kill DRG. There are a few Hydras out. And Hydras can be good against Stalkers, but not if the Stalkers are in super overwhelming numbers. Okay, more Lings and Hydras on the way right now for DRG. He's going to try to buy some time with these Queens. Oh, the Stalkers blink forward, though, right on top of a few of these Queens. Transfusion's not going to save them, and they will all fall immediately. Some Lings on the backside trying to just draw some of this fire, but it looks like Classic has recognized that this is his time. Drones are forced to come off the line to fight. The Stalkers will just blink back. Some Zealots warp in to deal with those drones, and it's going to be too much for DRG to handle. Classic is going to bop him with the 8-gate Blink Stalker attack. GG.